Under the full moon, I discovered my CEO's phoenix form, as a mother and son rushed to save him. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, wrapping around me like a thick fog. My heart pounded in my chest as I stumbled through the dimly lit courtyard, the silvery moonlight pouring down like a spotlight on a haunting stage. The shadows danced around me, conjuring eerie shapes that whispered secrets I wasn't ready to hear. Then, I froze. There he was. My boss, the straight-laced CEO, known for his sharp suits and colder demeanor, now writhing on the ground in a blaze of crimson and gold feathers. His body flickered like flame, pulse pounding with the rhythm of something ancient, regal, alive. I could hardly breathe. Was this a nightmare? The heat radiated off him, casting an orange glow that warmed the chilling night. I felt tears prick at the corners of my eyes, hot and confusing, but then, I saw them. A mother, frazzled and frantic, and her son, too young to understand, clutching a tattered blanket. They rushed towards him, desperation etched across their faces. Their breath came in quick bursts, fear palpable in the air. "Mom, is he gonna be okay?" The boy cried, his voice trembling. Each word pierced my heart. What was happening? Why was this man transforming before our eyes? The world spun around me. I wanted to scream, to run, yet I stood frozen in this surreal moment. Wave after wave of emotions crashed over me: shock, disbelief, a flicker of hope. How could I possibly help? The mother knelt beside him, her hands trembling like leaves in a storm. "Please, come back to us. We need you, you're the light," she begged, her voice cracking. The connection between them was palpable, a bond forged through trials I could only imagine. My own heart ached for them. Suddenly, the fire around him erupted, a whirlwind of feathers swirling into the night sky. I gasped, the air thick with the scent of smoke and something else, magic, perhaps? The ground beneath me trembled, a warning, a promise of something greater. Then, in the chaotic whirlwind, I saw Ita's shimmering, haunting figure rising from the flames, its eyes locked onto mine. A chill ran down my spine. What did this mean for us? For him? For the company? The world was crumbling, spinning wildly out of control, and I couldn't find my footing. I needed answers. All I could do was watch. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The flames continued to dance, flickering shadows playing tricks on my mind as I fought to comprehend the spectacle unfolding before me. A spiral of feathers glimmered like precious jewels in the moonlight, and the cries of the mother and son echoed in the stillness of the night, creating a haunting symphony that would linger in my heart long after this moment faded. My knees buckled beneath me as the realization dawned: this was no ordinary transformation. The air buzzed with energy, making my skin prick with anticipation and fear. I could feel the weight of the world upon my shoulders, this unexpected burden as I stood before someone who led the lives of many, now hanging between life and death, between his human form and the mythical creature he was destined to become. As the fiery whirlwind around him subsided, a calm settled over the courtyard. I moved closer, curiosity and trepidation mingling within me. The mother, still clutching her son tightly, turned to me, her eyes wide and pleading. "Help him. You know him, don't you?" she cried, her voice laced with desperation. Did I know him? I had seen a facade, a polished exterior built by years of hardship, ambition, and a relentless pursuit of success. But the truth lay before me in a way that shattered all previous understanding. How could I help someone who was as much a mystery to me as the fire creature he had become? Just then, I felt a small hand grasp mine. The boy looked up at me, his eyes shining like twin suns despite the trepidation around us. "Is he a superhero?" he whispered, that innocent belief sparking a warmth in my heart, a flicker of hope in this chaotic world. In that moment, I understood that to this child, This man was more than a CEO, he was a beacon of light, a symbol of strength. How ironic that a child could grasp the essence of humanity better than most adults. You could say that, I managed to respond, my voice slightly steadier than before as I knelt down, releasing my grip from the fear binding me. I shared a fleeting smile with the boy, one that was soft yet filled with unseen pain. He's fighting for something good, something very important. How could I admit that what I knew was only the surface of a deeper saga? The mother turned back to her son, brushing a tear from his cheek with a tenderness that made my heart ache. "We need to believe in him, sweetheart," she replied, her voice breaking through a curtain of dread. Her strength was palpable and resonated through the warmth of the embrace. She lifted her chin, facing the creature before us, and I could see the flickering resolve in her eyes. But doubt gnawed at me like a ravenous beast. What if he didn't come back? What if the brutal reality of the corporate world, with its relentless pressures and intolerable expectations, clouded our perceptions forever? A chill gripped my heart as I thought of our lives and jobs hanging by a thread, the fate of the company shrouded in ambiguity along with his. Suddenly, the world around us shifted as shadows began to converge. They were no longer mere illusions but forms taking shape, moving into the light of the moon. Faces flickered, familiar yet distant, ghosts from my past who had once filled the halls of the office. They came forward, drawn by the transformation, whispering fragmented words of encouragement, of the fight to rise from the ashes. "Embrace your strength," one voice echoed. "Don't let fear hold you back." Another swirled around me like a gentle breeze, igniting an ember of determination. I swallowed hard, feeling the fire within me rekindle, a growing need to reach out. I focused on the creature still shimmering with magic, half-formed and teetering between worlds. I couldn't let him slip away. Together, we all carried a part of him. It was more than a shared corporate bond, it was a union of souls. "Please, come back to us," I whispered into the night. A tear escaped and tumbled down my cheek, reflecting the moonlight like a star. Then I felt something in the air change a shift. The creature turned its gaze towards me, recognition flickering in its eyes, but before anything could transpire, a distant voice cut through the silence, harsh and accusing. "What have you done?" A figure appeared from the shadows, emerging like a tempest. I recognized him instantly, the rival CEO from across town, eyes burning with jealousy and cunning. This was no coincidence. He must have been watching, waiting for a moment of vulnerability to strike. The emotional crescendo reached a fever pitch as the world suddenly felt more fragile than ever. "Step away from him," he commanded, a sinister tone lacing his voice. The warmth of hope that had begun to blossom shriveled under the weight of an impending storm. In that heartbeat, I understood. We were trapped in a spiral of fate that would impact every life connected to us. I clung to the boy's hand as if it could anchor me to the remaining threads of courage I possessed, bracing myself for the reality that now lay ahead. The battle was far from over. Would we have the strength to withstand it? The darkness closed in around us, the air thick with tension, as the rival CEO stepped forward, his presence casting a shadow over the fragile flicker of hope we had kindled. "You think you can save him? You think this is some fairy tale?" He sneered, taking pleasure in our turmoil. Behind him, the shadows of our past stood still, watching, as if holding their breath. "Who are you to judge?" I fired back, the words spilling out before I had time to consider the danger. I stood up, driven by an inexplicable urge to protect the creature or the man within. Perhaps my defiance was a desperate grasp for agency in a situation that spiraled far beyond our control. "You don't know anything about him." The boy clutched my hand tighter, the warmth of his little fingers grounding me amidst the chaos. His faith in this transformation, in the man we were hoping would emerge whole, stirred something inside me. Did I dare to believe, to envision a coming together against this monstrosity before us? "You should listen to her." The mother stood with newfound resolve, stepping slightly in front of her son as if to shield him from the malice that threatened to engulf us. "He is more than you could ever comprehend. He fights for all of us." Her words rang in the air, creating a momentary lull, the strength pooling in our small group. I believed in her bravery, in the way she clutched her son protectively against her chest. It was a reminder that love could shimmer and shine even in the darkest of times, but my determination faltered as I locked eyes with the rival CEO. Something cold curled in my gut as I saw the flicker of envy morphing into something more sinister behind those steely eyes. "You're too late," he spat. "He's under my control now. You have no idea the power that binds him." In that instant, the air shimmered with unseen forces. The creature stirred, its form flickering between existence and ethereal promise. As fear coursed through me, I felt the boy's grip tighten further. "Mom, is he?" he whispered, peering up at her, eyes wide, filled with equal parts awe and dread. The innocence in his voice shattered my heart. How could I protect him from all this? How could I protect any of us? "He's fighting," I said, my voice trembling but resolute. I stepped forward, a defiant act propelled by our shared hope. "We all are." To my surprise, the creature turned its gaze toward the boy, momentarily drawing the unfathomable weight of its existence to look at a child who believed in heroes. I sensed a connection forming, a bridge spanning the chasm of fear and uncertainty, and it filled the air with a tentative warmth, but that warmth flickered as the rival CEO, sensing a rift in control, advanced menacingly. "You won't win this. I will bleed him dry of every ounce of potential he has, and you won't be able to stop me." I shuddered at the implications of his words, the dread filling the space between my ribs, expanding with every heartbeat. What would happen if he succeeded? Would this transformation consume everything he had, leaving nothing but a hollow shell in its wake? Suddenly, the mother placed her hand on my shoulder, her touch a balm against the mounting fear. "You must believe in him," she urged, her grip steadying my racing thoughts. "Remember the man you knew, the one who held the weight of this company's future." Her words opened the floodgates of memories. I recalled the late nights he spent working, the compassion flickering behind his steely facade when he came to comfort those in need, a streak of humanity amidst corporate ruthlessness. Perhaps it was more than just a fight, it could be about redemption, reclaiming who he truly was. Together, we could breathe life into what had been extinguished, and with that thought, I summoned every ounce of courage within me. "Please, escape," I yelled into the night, desperation lacing my tone, directed at the creature who was both a man and a mythical being. "You can do this, we believe in you." Just then, ethereal wings spread wide, sending a wave of luminescent feathers swirling in the moonlight. A transforming cry echoed through the night, a song that resonated in my very soul, and the creature's form wavered, caught between two worlds. But in that climactic moment, the rival CEO lunged forward, and suddenly, everything came crashing down. The boy screamed, a breathtaking sound that cut through the turmoil, a raw reminder of innocence trapped in a storm of ambition and greed. I turned just in time to see the rival CEO grasp something hidden in the shadows, a shining blade that stabbed at the heart of our hope. Time froze. In the split second before the world imploded, I saw the mom's horror-stricken face, the boy's wide eyes filled with terror, and the magical creature losing its glow as darkness slithered around it. My breath hitched. "Don't!" I shouted, but it was too late. The earth trembled beneath our feet as a fissure opened in the fabric of fate, threatening to separate our lives forever. And then, as if time held its breath, I knew, deep down, nothing would ever be the same again. The threads of our destinies twisted impossibly closer, racing towards an uncertain truth that would shake the very foundation of our beings, and I could do nothing but watch. The rift in the air pulsed like a living thing, vibrating with the weight of impending doom as shadows deepened around us. I felt the world teetering on the brink, every colors dulled and every sound blurred into a haunting echo. In that moment of chaos, it was as if time had conspired against us, stretching the seconds into hours. All I could hear was the rapid beat of my heart mingling with the haunting echoes of a distant promise that seemed to slip further away. The blade shimmered menacingly, its glint an ominous promise of destruction aimed at everything we held dear. I saw the fear in the boy's eyes, vivid and piercing, a mirror of my own dread. "Mom!" he wailed, terror stripping his voice of innocence. A crack split the silence that had descended upon us, its reverberations demanding an immediate reckoning. In that moment, I understood not only the stakes of our fight but the profound bond connecting us, a fragile thread of hope, of love. The mother's presence grounded me, her fierce love igniting a fire within my chest. "We're not giving up," I cried, turning towards her, my heart aching for the path ahead. "He can still fight. We must help him." Her determination glimmered in her eyes, igniting a responsive spark in me. "Yes, He has to feel our love, it's what will keep him anchored. We must reach him." With a nod, we locked eyes, a silent agreement forged in mutual desperation. It was a pact bound by the need to protect, to believe, and to fight for a man teetering on the edge of existence. I turned back to the creature who now writhed, caught in the throes of transformation, grappling with the darkness that clung to it like shadows refusing to fight back. I implored, my voice a battle cry against despair. "We believe in you. Break free." But the rival CEO, fueled by greed and malice, surged forward with that cursed blade, and the air thickened with dread. Dark laughter spilled from him, fangs bared. "You don't even know what you're fighting for. This is beyond you, all of you." Yet, in that moment, I saw something flicker within the creature, a sliver of light battling desperately against encroaching darkness. It was fleeting yet undeniable, igniting a surge of hope in my heart. "It's not just you," I urged, my voice stronger now, resonating with the fervor of conviction. "You have us. You have a reason to fight." The mother stepped beside me, her strength radiating a nurturing warmth. "You were a father to this boy, a brother to me. Don't you remember? Love is your power." In that fragile pause, something shifted. The creature paused, its glow intensifying, brilliant against the dark sky. I caught the sound of wings flapping softly against the creeping shadow, a flicker of hope taking flight. But the CEO was relentless. With a roar of desperation, he lunged, and time fractured once more, reality twisting into chaos as we scrambled to shield the boy from the impending doom. "No!" I screamed, instinctively pulling the boy behind me as I raised my arms protectively toward the creature. The moment stretched, the blade glinting with malicious intent. But just as the world teetered on the brink of annihilation, a blinding light erupted, cascading into a celestial burst of warmth and energy. I felt it wash over us, an otherworldly pulse igniting every fiber of my being. The creature's form shifted, elongated till it shattered the limits of mere existence, spilling forth a dazzling luminosity that illuminated the night. And yet, in the endless beauty of that moment, I could still feel the tension coiling, the drastic uncertainty lingering. The room was charged with an electric hum, a promise of rebirth hanging heavy in the air. Then it happened. The rival's CEO screamed, an etching of fury so raw it could split the very fabric of our realities. With one mighty sweep of the creature's burgeoning wings, a gale surged forth. The blade slipped from the CEO's grip, clattering harmlessly to the ground. But it was not over. It was merely the awakening of something ancient and primal. The eyes of the creature now glowed with a brightness that threatened to consume everything in its path, even as they locked onto mine, reflecting an ocean of sorrow and lost dreams. "It's not just me," the creature murmured, its voice both haunting and surreal. "What do you mean?" My heart raced, each word laced with fear and anticipation. "Before this night ends, you will understand the truth. But not all truths are easy to bear." Just then, the boy clutched my hand tighter, allowing the warmth of his innocence to filter through the chaos. And as if under the spell of our collective hope, I gazed once more into the creature's eyes as the shadows began to morph, twisting into a fractal whirlpool of memory and sorrow that beckoned like a siren's call. "Wait!" I cried as an unexpected rumble shook the earth beneath us, hinting at something monumental on the verge of revelation. But before I could grasp the implications, the ground buckled, and darkness surged forward, unfurling shadows like tendrils seeking to envelop us once more. "No!" I shouted desperately, feeling the boy's fear resonate within me. "We can't lose him again." And with unimaginable force, the world began to unravel, the edges of reality frayed and screaming. In that moment, I realized we were on the cusp of discovering something that could shatter us entirely or redefine what we thought we knew, a revelation that teetered precariously on the edge of light and darkness. But then, everything went black, and we were left hanging in a void, clinging to the slivers of hope that still fluttered like moths around a flame. Time suspended itself, reality shimmering on the brink of collapsing into unfathomable chaos. The silence enveloped us like a shroud, thick and suffocating in the aftermath of that catastrophic upheaval. As shadows danced, the familiar shapes of reality melted away into an endless void. My mind raced, fragments of thought crumbling as I wrestled between fear and the flicker of hope I still clutched tightly in my heart. The boy whimpered beside me, his small fingers digging into my arm, seeking comfort in the chaos. Are we dead? He stammered, his voice trembling like a fragile leaf quaking in the wind, and oh, I whispered, though uncertainty clawed at my throat. We're still here. We have to be strong. The words felt feeble in the ether, the darkness seemed to swallow them whole, leaving only echoes in its wake. And yet, somewhere within that suffocating void, I sensed a pulse faint but insistent, a heartbeat threading through the marrow of existence. It was a longing, a tether pulling us closer to a truth we had not yet comprehended. That light, it has to be guiding us. We must find it again. The boy nodded but didn't answer, his wide eyes reflecting the fear that mirrored my own, and I felt an involuntary urge to protect him against the swirling unknown. I couldn't afford to falter now, our hope depended on believing in the unseen. Then, as if summoned by our collective yearning, a glow began to emerge from the darkness. It expanded slowly, wrapping us in ethereal tendrils that shimmered like stardust, urging us toward its source. A figure began to materialize through the haze, the familiar silhouette shrouded in brilliance. The creature, now reborn, seemed eternal in form, embodying the essence of every joy and sorrow we had ever known. Where are we? I called, my voice trembling as awe and fear intertwined within me. Between worlds, it answered, its voice laced with both serenity and chaos. You have witnessed the battles fought between light and shadow, but now you stand at the threshold of understanding. Choices must be made. The boy, the mother, each of you carries the gravity of a fate yet written. What fate? I pressed, stepping forward, compelled by the crystalline glow that emanated from the creature. What do we have to do? The creature's gaze bore into mine, it was ancient yet brimming with warmth. You seek to save him, the one you call your CEO. But knowledge comes with a price. To rescue him requires confronting not only his darkness but the truths that bind your hearts to one another. The connections formed in sacrifice and love are threads of great power. They can either bind you closer or unravel the very fabric of what you know. Before I could answer, the boy tugged at my hand, breaking my concentration. Is he going to be okay? His voice cracked, vulnerable and raw. The creature turned to the boy, the light bathing him in warmth. The path ahead is fraught with uncertainty, but your faith holds immense power. Do not underestimate the strength that surfaces in moments of despair. A stirring hope blossomed within me as I observed the boy's innocent belief and unwavering trust. But then, reality quivered like a fragile glass on the edge of a precipice. The shadows coalesced, thickening around us in furious torrents, whispering threats that sent shivers down my spine. The rival CEO's despairing screams echoed tirelessly in the backdrop of our sanctuary, a reminder of the chaos yet to come. With brutal force, the darkness surged while shadows took form, a grotesque mockery of what once was, shapes twisting like living nightmares. They approached, mouthless yet demanding, insatiable for the life they sought to eclipse. No! I shouted, fervor igniting once more within me. We will not succumb to you. We choose hope. Light erupted around us, rebuffing the impending gloom, and I felt the warmth of the boy's small frame press into mine as I instinctively shielded him. I realized our bond, the love we emanated, could be our weapon against the encroaching shadows. As I held my ground, the creature transformed with an explosive surge of energy, its form becoming a symbol of hope, rising above us with wings unfurled wide. There! Brilliance illuminated the dark corners of our surroundings and surged through each moment, revealing glimpses of fragmented memories echoing in the abyss. I have to see, I shouted, yearning to piece together the truth, the memory that tied us all. But just as clarity seemed within my grasp, the shadows struck back with malice. Tendrils of darkness wound around the boy's ankle, yanking him backward, horror acrid in the air like biled no. I screamed, desperation igniting my resolve. The shadows prowled, hungry and relentless, ready to snatch away the innocent light that was the boy. A fierce heat coursed through me as I felt the pull of my own past crashing into the present, ancient bonds of love, sacrifice, a kaleidoscope of emotions intertwined in a moment that shook me to the core. Stay close, I cried. We're stronger together. Then, in that pivotal heartbeat, as raw energy coursed through each of us, the creature and the boy, a haunting realization unfurled its wings within me. There was a truth bared to the heart, yet dark riddles lay waiting to be unfurled, and just as those shadows lunged with the intention to devour, the creature unleashed a blinding burst, battling against the encroaching tide. The boy's eyes locked onto mine, a shining beacon amid the darkness. As that knowledge clawed at my mind, in that instant, I knew with every thread of my being that I had to make the ultimate choice. A choice that could save or shatter us all. But what if the truth that begged to be uncovered was more devastating than the shadow's embrace? The potential fracture of our fragile lives hung precariously as darkness gathered around, leaving us stranded on the threshold of revelation and despair. Uncertainty surged like a tidal wave, dragging us deeper into the depths of obscurity. Then, something shifted within the void, an unexpected flicker. With a heart full of trepidation and trembling resolve, I stepped forward, facing the shadows that loomed over us, reaching toward both hope and the veiled truth entwined within. Would love forge a path through this darkened labyrinth, or would it bring our undoing? A single thought clung to my soul: the boy's life depended on our choice. Unbeknownst to me, our destinies were tangled tighter than I ever imagined, and as darkness threatened to consume the light, I readied myself to uncover what lay hidden in the depths of our intertwined fates, knowing that whatever lay ahead could tear us apart or unite us forever. The air hung heavy with a palpable energy, crackling like electricity as the shadows around us seemed to pulse with life. I could feel them creeping closer, sweeping towards us with their insatiable hunger. But more than fear, a deep-rooted determination churned within me. I could not afford to let the boy down, not now, not ever. Hold on to me, I urged, my voice steadying, and as I tightened my grip around his small hand, warmth flooded through USA shield against the encroaching depths of despair. The creature's light flared again, illuminating the pathways of the spiraling darkness as it soared into the ethereal tapestry of our surroundings. I could feel my heart pounding in sync with the steady pulse of its vibrant energy. You must confront the shadows. Show them the strength of your love. Its voice resonated above the chaos, urging us onward. With the boy braving the unknown beside me, I took a deep breath and stepped into the waves of darkness. It coiled around us, and I could feel bitter whispers, accusations tinged with anguish that clawed at my soul. The truth will destroy you, they hissed, feasting on my doubts. I felt the tremor within me. What if they were right? What if unearthing the truth of my CEO was the undoing of everything I'd fought for? But I steadied myself, reminding myself of the thread of hope that coursed through my veins. The boy's unwavering belief anchored me. Then let's find it together, I replied, my voice cutting through the shadows like a sword. And as we ventured deeper, shadows morphed into silhouettes of familiar faces, flickering fragments of my past. Memories surfaced in waves, each more haunting than the last. My family's laughter morphed into cries of pain, reconciliations turned into goodbyes. I squeezed the boy's hand as images of my CEO flickered into view, his face woven with desperation and a chilling darkness that settled over him like a storm. Tears stung my eyes as I faced the truth: I had become a lighthouse for him, a bastion against the self-imposed exile he inhabited. But could I dismantle his demons while wrestling my own? How would I face the memories etched into the very fabric of our shared pain? Then, amid the turmoil, a flicker of light caught my eye, drawing my gaze to a distant glow beyond the shadows. Look! The boy shouted, pointing with wide eyes, excitement illuminating his face like the sun breaking through after a storm. I turned, searching for the source of that vibrant glow, and there it was, a glimpse of the phoenix form rising from the depths. I felt the heat radiate and, for a fleeting moment, hope surged. But the shadows roared in rage, rallying against the light as though it burned their very existence. Gouts of darkness shot forth, attempting to snuff out the light that dared to breathe. No! I shouted, rallying my courage. The entity, wrapped in luminescence, cried out in response, its power undeterred by the malice swirling violently around it. We're coming for you. I pulled the boy along, his breath coming in quick bursts as the shadows flailed against us with violent force. We stormed ahead, propelled by a furious need to reveal the truth and save the man I cherished, me CEO, a phoenix related to me more than I had dared to admit. Just as we reached the threshold of overwhelming light, a piercing scream tore through the air, halting us in our tracks. It was my own voice, distorted and deep, echoing in perfect symmetry with the boy's. The shadows twisted fervently, reacting to our bond. No! I breathed, horrified as I saw our fears taking shoppy reflection of our insecurities becoming tangible, combined in a grotesque amalgamation. The shadow beast roared, a chorus of our darkest thoughts blended into one terrifying reality. And then in that deafening moment, The creature of light descended between us, illuminating our fears and revealing them in stark clarity. Our struggles, our pain, our connection to the phoenix wrapped tightly in sorrow and hope. "Witness," it demanded, its voice soaring above the tumult. "In love, truth can be reborn. What was buried can rise again, as..." The creature illuminated the darkness around us. The shadow beast reared back, writhing against the fierce light, but it didn't dissolve. It transformed, pulling memories from both me and the boy into its distorted form. It was us, confronted with our past, our regrets, our fragile aspirations. In that moment, I realized the only way to salvage our hearts and break the cycle of despair was to face our entwined truths head-on, to gather strength in both love and the memories that threatened to tear us apart. "No," I shouted, rallying against the despair. "We won't shy away anymore. We choose to forge ahead. We're not alone." In the blink of an eye, the boy stepped forward, pulling his strength from the wells of innocence and hope. "We will save him," he declared, and just like that, the shadows recoiled, shifted, and for a moment, hope hung in the air like a delicious fragrance. But as the shadows thinned, revealing the brightness that was grounded in the phoenix form of my CEO, a sudden chill swept through me. Fragments of memories danced chaotically, whispering truths too profound to comprehend. My heart thundered with foreboding, an unsettling thought surfacing like a phantom from the depths. What if, in saving him, we unleashed a truth so transformative that it shattered everything we'd fought to uphold? Something far greater than the shadows we battled. I felt my resolve wavering as my mind raced, grappling with what lay ahead as light flickered precariously against the encroaching darkness, and just like that, darkness surged forward, a final gamble to consume the last remnants of our hope before a revelation unraveled everything we thought we knew. The fragments twisted into shapes I could barely grasp, but one thing lingered painfully. The shadows wrapped around my heart, and the haunting question reverberated within me: were we strong enough to face the truth that had the power to both heal or destroy us? I stood frozen, my breath hitching in my throat as the boy looked up at me, wide-eyed and expectant. I knew then that we were only moments away from unearthing the connection that would test the very fabric of our souls. In the throes of potential salvation, a single dreadful possibility blossomed, a truth not just about the CEO but one that could irrevocably alter our destinies forever. As the shadows swirled ominously, drawing closer with an insatiable hunger, I felt the boy's small hand tremble in mine, and I steeled my resolve. The light flickered ever so faintly above our heads, illuminating the shadow beast that writhed and roared with a haunting familiarity. The truth of its form had begun to unfurl, a grotesque reflection of our failing hopes and dreams. "Stay close to me," I whispered, wrapping my arm protectively around the boy as we faced the onslaught of our darkest fears. It felt as if the very air had thickened, suffocating us in dread as whispers clawed at our minds. "They can't take us," I murmured, even as my own heart pounded with uncertainty. With every ounce of fear we confronted, a glimmer of hope sparked in the translucent light. I realized that this creature was no mere enemy, it was a manifestation of the pain we had yet to face, and perhaps, within it lay the key to our salvation. As those familiar memories intertwined around USA tapestry of sorrow and resilience drew nearer to the luminous essence of the phoenix, illuminating the shadows that lingered in the corners of our hearts. "Look," the boy cried suddenly, his voice piercing through the layering darkness. He pointed toward a series of silhouettes, faces with eyes mirroring our deepest longings. "It's them. They are here." I squinted through the chaos, heart racing as I recognized the faces. My mother, her smile radiant even in the dark; the boy's father, brooding yet hopeful; the CEO's long-lost brother, whose warmth spoke of the connection we had only begun to discover. Each face held a story untold, fraught with the pain of separation yet graced with a glimmering promise of reconciliation. "Together," I shouted, the desperation in my voice igniting a flicker of light in the darkness. "We remember our love and courage." I could feel the power of everyone's combined strength, rising like a tide against the despair that threatened to drown us. Yet as we encouraged the faces to step forward, the darker parts of the memories twisted and contorted, unveiling deeper layers of anguish. The boy's father was not just a shadow but a figure burdened with regret. My mother had loved hard but lost herself in the rubble of expectations, and the CEO's brother was silhouetted in anger, hints of resentment simmering just below the surface. No longer just specters, these figures had stories intertwined with our own, echoes of our lives raking against the walls of my heart. Each revelation unlocked a door to our affection, but the shadows held onto their grip, weaving strands of confusion and fear into the tapestry. Then the light shot out from the remnants of the darkness, lashing out in a desperate attempt to reclaim its power as the boy, with newfound determination in his eyes, stepped up, forcing me to face the grotesque amalgamation made of us. "We can't be afraid of them," he declared, strength emanating from his innocence, a poignant reminder of the unblemished love that enveloped us both. "That I won't let them win," I echoed, fueled by the boy's bravery. Together, we ushered forth the memories, transforming fear into an armor of compassion. The heart-wrenching stories were no longer shackles but bridges to understanding, and the silhouette of our CEO flickered persistently within the shadows, dominated by doubt yet yearning for freedom. As the light fought back fiercely, the shadow beast howled, retreating further. Amidst the chaos, the shared truths began to shimmer, illuminating the darkness that had once felt inescapable. I took a deep breath, bolstered by the warmth of connection as I inched forward. However, just as I thought we might banish the darkness completely, a thunderous roar erupted, sending tremors through the ground beneath my feet. "Your bond only adds to your suffering," the beast howled, its eyes burning with a malevolence I had not foreseen. The ground shook violently as the darkness momentarily dispersed, revealing the full extent of the CEO's movements wavering in the light, struggling against its own torment. "No!" I cried out. In that moment, I realized that confronting him was more than just facing the shadow. It was about exposing his vulnerabilities, peeling back the layers of pain to uncover the truth that had been woven into our very beings. Then the darkness surged again, this time morphing into a seething wall of shadows, engulfing the light, and all hope seemed to dim. "Doubt is your greatest foe," it hissed, coiling around me like a vice, squeezing the air from my lungs. "You cannot face the truth, it will shatter your very existence." Fighting against the encroaching void, I turned to the boy, eyes wide and shimmering with tears that echoed the molten fear rising in my own throat. "We must push through," I urged with every ounce of strength I could muster. But just as I was prepared to charge forward, a deafening silence fell, a moment where the world paused. I felt it then, a different energy thrumming beneath me, the palpable tension like a coiled spring, preparing to unleash something unexpected. "Unravel the truth of who you are," the creature of light whispered, its voice like a hymn amidst the chaos. "What lies beneath the surface, buried in shadows, can liberate or bury you. Choose wisely." The boy and I exchanged a look, the weight of our hearts heavy with unspoken fears and desires. A trembling inevitability filled the air. The revelation was near, closing in, yet barely perceptible. As if the universe had aligned, the brightness of the light surged forth once more, but this time, it cast a new shadow, a dark figure emerging from the depths, resembling someone we could not recognize. I froze, breath caught in my throat as I realized, this new face held a striking resemblance to my own. "Who are you?" the boy whispered, innocent curiosity juxtaposed with fear. Just then, the clashing forces burst forth, spiraling into chaos, and I felt the world unraveling beneath me. I understood, not through words but through the resonance of energy. We were on the precipice of a profound truth, one that could bind us together or shatter our very essence. As the air thickened with anticipation and dread, I clutched the boy tightly, bracing for the inevitable awakening. The boundaries of our past, our pain, and the shadows that loomed were converging, and with them, our destinies hung precariously in the balance. The air crackled with an unseen energy, the chaotic dance of shadows and light swirling around us like a tempest. I felt the weight of the boy's small hand gripping mine, a steadfast anchor against the tide of uncertainty that surged through the depths of my heart. The figure looming before us, a dark mirror of my own reflection, sent a cold tremor coursing through my veins. "Please, tell me who you are," I said, my voice, barely a whisper, trembled with a mix of fear and yearning. Each heartbeat echoed the question like a haunting refrain, reverberating in the very marrow of my bones. The figure remained silent, its features obscured by the tempest, but the familiarity stirred something deep within me, roots of a past long buried. The boy leaned closer, drawn by an instinctual pull of compassion, bravely stepping to the forefront as I faltered. It reminded me of the innocence of hope, the fiery determination that had driven us thus far. Perhaps there was a thread of connection, a glimmer of understanding even amidst the shadows. As I steadied myself, battling the darkness that sought to ensnare us again, a flicker of light emerged from the depths behind the figure. The shadows writhed, twisting into tendrils of memory that entangled with fragments of unspent dreams. Our burdens do not define us, I whispered, my resolve hardening, lifting my gaze to meet the spectre before me. We alone choose who we become. The moment hung suspended, a taut line between fear and hope. Then, the boy's voice rang out with the clarity of untainted faith. Please, we're here. You don't have to be alone. His eyes shone, radiating the light of innocence and unwavering belief. Suddenly, the figure flinched, as if the boy's words pierced through the layers of shadow to the core of its being. I watched, entranced, as the manifestation began to warp, its features slowly revealing themselves. Shock rippled through me as I recognized the contours of my own face twisted in anguish. But those eyes burning with a fusion of sorrow and unquenched desire were unlike anything I had ever seen. "No," I gasped, clutching the boy as a feeling of unbridled panic took root. "That can't be, that's not." But the swirling shadows danced in acknowledgement, and as they enveloped the figure, another voice emerged, a voice I had not heard in years, echoing with an intimacy that both frightened and comforted. "You must let me go," it implored, laced with regret and desperation. "The only way to free all of us is to confront the truth that binds us." A sharp pain coursed through me as the memories surged, unearthing every moment of anguish that led to this nightmarish revelation. The boy's father, my mother, the overlapping fabric of our past was unraveling with alarming velocity. The realization crashed over me like a violent wave. This shadow wasn't an adversary but an undesired reflection of the weight I had carried for far too long. This was a fragment of my own unaddressed grief and guilt. "No," I whispered again, tears brimming in my eyes. "I don't want to face this. I've tried to forget. I wanted to forget." "Running from it won't free you," the voice continued, a mournful echo intertwined with the boy's innocent determination. "You cannot be whole until you confront the shattered pieces of your heart." The air thickened with unresolved emotion, and I felt the boy's grip strengthen around my hand, his steadfastness a lifeline in the midst of turmoil. He lifted his chin, eyes fierce with an emerald glint, undeterred by the enormity of the moment. "We'll face it together. I promise we'll find a way." I took a deep breath, fueled by the boy's unwavering courage. Together, we could pull on that thread of connection, unspooling the tangled web of pain until we uncovered the truth that could unite us all. As the dark figure loomed, awaiting our response, I stepped forward, propelled by the desire to untangle the shackles of despair. "Let's acknowledge it, together," I proclaimed, summoning all the strength I could muster. "Let's embrace it not as a stigma, but as a part of our journey. It is not shame but a testament to our survival." Shadows belong in the light of acceptance. With each word, a warmth began to wash over the space, the shadows pulsing in recognition of our resolve, even as the darkness writhed in anguish, reluctant yet strangely fascinated with our transience. In that moment, something shifted within the depths of the swirling shadows. I felt the air grow heavy as an enormous weight seemed to lift, the shadows coiling back with a mournful howl. Amidst the chaos, the familiar form of the CEO emerged, confronted by the embodiment of his own reluctant past, struggling with the weight of his own shadows. And that's when it happened. A flash of understanding ignited between us, a glimpse of unspoken bonds that intertwined our fates. But just as quickly as the glimmer illuminated my heart, a deafening roar interrupted our moment of clarity. "No, no!" the beast thrashed back, fury spilling out like molten fire. "Your hope is futile. You think you can break the chains that hold you? I will not allow it," I gasped, fear gnawing at my core as the darkness surged, enveloping the boy and me once more, pulling us apart desperately. "Stay close," I shouted, but the very fabric of our bond was shredding. As the shadows encased me, a chilling laughter echoed in the suffocating void. "You still misunderstand. Opening those doors will only lead to your utter ruin." The boy's terrified gaze locked onto mine, and in a single heartbeat, we both realized the depth of the truth we had uncovered. The shadows had only begun to unravel, and we weren't just fighting for ourselves. We were fighting to save someone who had once been lost within us. And as the walls of darkness threatened to close in, a singular resonating thought pierced through. This was only the beginning of the fight. The resolution was not to come until the final reckoning, but for now, we stood at the edge of an abyss, hearts pounding, grasping for the light. With those heavy revelations aching in our souls, I whispered fiercely to the shadows around us, "We will face you. We will not be defeated, not now, not ever." The battle had only just begun, and as the darkness swirled, our destinies entwined with a rather fragile but undying thread of hope. Under the weight of the howling tempest, a stillness enveloped me, a profound sense of dread interwoven with the faintest thread of hope. The turbulent shadows, swirling like a cyclone around us, began to shift uneasily, as if responding to my silent declaration. I glanced down at the boy, his face reflecting a mixture of fear and unwavering courage, two emotions battling for dominance in his wide, innocent eyes. We had crossed a line, diving headfirst into a darkness that felt as palpable and suffocating as a thick fog. As I peered into the depths, I yearned for clarity, a sign that our struggles held meaning. With the figure's chilling laughter echoing like distant thunder, a new understanding took root. I wasn't merely confronting my own shadows, but also those belonging to the CEO, a man whose very existence had been intertwined with mine for far too long. He, too, had been haunted by unseen specters, and now, it felt as if the darkness we faced was a manifestation of his own buried grief. "Stay strong," I whispered to the boy, but the resolve in my voice trembled like a fragile leaf caught in a gale. "We can't lose each other." His tiny fingers wrapped around mine tighter, a gesture of unspoken reassurance. In that moment, the connection between us flickered like a fragile candle, casting a small glow in the face of overwhelming darkness. I thought of all the times I had felt lost, abandoned, and alone, and how the boy had become my beacon through high tides of sorrow. If we were to escape this nightmare, we had to lean on each other, allow our fears to meld into a united front against the encroaching shadows. The echoes of the CEO's voice intermingled with the whirlwind, a haunting lament that pleaded for release from his own prison of regret. "You can't hope to save me. My shadows are too deep." "Everyone has shadows," the boy countered loudly, his youthful assertiveness ringing through the abyss. "But they can't be all you are. You're still there somewhere inside. Just let us help you find the light again." A heavy silence followed, the swirling darkness seemingly captivated by the boy's belief, as if tasting the fruit of hope for the first time. I sensed a shift, a flicker of recognition from the CEO's form, now caught within the swirling mass of memories and regrets. Was he willing to let us in? But just as the possibility of breakthrough glimmered on the horizon, a surge of anger erupted from the shadows, a twisting chaos that clutched at my heart. "You think you can save him? Look around you." The shadows huffed, as if preparing for an attack, their twisted forms morphing into grotesque images of failure and despair. "You are nothing but mere children, fragile and weak. You cannot change the past." An icy chill flooded through my veins. The shadows grew louder, swirling around the boy and me, suffocating us with their oppressive weight. My breath hitched as despair clawed at my throat, choking on our hopes. Yet, amidst the cacophony, something stirred deep within me, a singular memory that cut through the darkness. I turned to the boy, grounding myself with his unwavering eyes, burning with fierce determination. "Look at me," I said softly, "fear is just a shadow of the heart. We've felt it, but it can't take us unless we give in to it. Together." With newfound conviction, I focused on the darkest tendrils, my voice rising above the storm. "You are wrong. We are not powerless. We will rewrite our story." In that moment, the shadows recoiled, a flicker of confusion rippling through their essence. I felt the boy's spirit surge beside me, and as if woven into the very fabric of our resolve, his light began to shine brighter, an incandescent aura that threatened to forge a path through the darkness surrounding us. "Come with us," he shouted, igniting a spark of determination in my heart once more. "Don't let the shadows bind you. Let them wash over you, let them remind you of who you are, and then fight back." And then, a flurry of movements erupted, the shadows recoiling as if struck by lightning. A voice rang out, a haunting sound muffled by the tumult around us, yet clear as a bell. "You mustn't fear what you've lost. Embrace what you can find, what can be rebuilt." With that clarity, I propelled myself forward, fueled by a surge of fierce love for this boy who stood beside me, my beacon in the dark. I reached into the abyss, grasping the remnants of a broken past, all the fears and failures that had lingered like ghosts. But the shadows retaliated violently, lashing out as I tried to peel back the layers, revealing the raw wounds that had been hidden for too long. "You will regret this," they roared, their fury drowning out our resolve. Desperation clawed at me as I struggled to stand firm against the overwhelming tide. But regret can't hold me. It's the choices we make now that will define our path. We can choose to rise, and in an explosion of willpower and light, the shadows intensified, a wild tempest reflecting the turmoil in our hearts. But just as hope ignited, a new darkness surged forth, one that linked the boy, the CEO, and myself together in an unforeseen way. A dark revelation loomed, clarity and dread merging into an overwhelming truth. I stumbled back, mouth dry, as the realization pierced me like ice. No, it can't be. The echoes of laughter morphed into a sinister whisper, the shadows seemed to coalesce into a singular form, that of the CEO becoming clearer. Remember, my dear, the shadow intoned with an unsettling calm. The truth often brings pain, far beyond what you can imagine. I never left, you were never alone, not really. The weight of those words crashed over me like a tidal wave threatening to drag me under, leaving me gasping for air. There was something more sinister at play. The true enemy had been lurking in the corners of our lives, disguised beneath layers of hope and despair. The boy's hand trembled in mine, a thunderous moment of stillness settling over the tempest as all hope teetered on the brink. My heart raced as I faced the encroaching darkness, breaths quickening in the suffocating silence between us. The fight wasn't over, nor was the connection that had drawn us here. But with those haunting words hanging heavily in the air, I realized that piecing together our shattered truths would lead us down a path fraught with unimaginable peril. Clutching the boy's hand tighter, we stood amid the chaos, determined not to let our light flicker out, yet afraid of what truths might come to the surface in the end. The storm had only begun, the tether on our hearts stretched thin, as we stood on the precipice of an unfathomable journey that awaited us. The storm raged around us, each gust of wind whipping against our faces like a cruel reminder of the enormous weight we carried. Shadows writhed and twisted, threatening to swallow us whole as the last flickers of hope fought to withstand their advance. The echo of the CEO's voice sent chills down my spine, chilling me to the core as I held on to the boy's hand, grounding us in the eye of this tempest. I had to confront the truth that hung between us like an invisible noose. Remember, my dear, the dark shape murmured again, its voice layered with vestiges of longing and despair. The truth often brings pain, far beyond what you can imagine. I pressed my lips together, staring defiantly at the amalgamation before us, knowing that facing it meant confronting everything we feared most and perhaps, everything I had avoided for too long. Who are you? I shouted, though my voice quaked, shrouded in the uncertainty that flickered around us. Have you come to torment us, or to help us? The shadows shivered, and I felt the boy's grip tighten. You can't let fear win, you must face it, he urged, softer but infinitely stronger than the primordial echoes of the shadows. Pushing beyond my dread, I locked eyes with the dark figure, not wanting to see the pain reflected in the depths of its being, but the resemblance compelled me to lean in. We exist beyond this darkness. We are not defined by our failures. The shape flickered, its edges softening like the morning mist giving way to sunlight. For a heart-stopping moment, it felt like the darkness that held the creature captive began to quake. You want to cast me out? It hissed, half lost in shimmering shadows. No. I yelled, rage and fear intertwining. We're here to understand you. Not to cast you out. With every ounce of resolve I could muster, I allowed my heart to open. I had buried things too deep, for too long. The boy looked up at me, his eyes gleaming with courage and belief in me, in us. We believe in you. He cried out, his voice like a beacon cutting through the darkness. You're not lost, you're searching for light. In an instant, the shadows recoiled as if struck, shrinking back. I watched the fragments of the CEO, the flicker of a man who had tied himself to the chains of his past wavering before me. Would he truly let us in? The tempest quieted, each breath heavier than the last as I faced my own truths. You may have failed before, I proclaimed, but redemption exists in every moment. Every choice we're not meant to face our shadows alone. The shadows around us trembled, settling but not disappearing. The figure flickered again, the agony woven into its fabric palpable. I felt the boy beside me, planting his feet firm, finding strength within his unwavering hope. You are strong enough to rise again, I continued, shifting my focus from the past, instead crafting a vision of possibility for the future. There is a path ahead, one drenched in compassion and love. You belong with us. As if finally hearing, a soft murmur emanated from the shadows, each word heavy with pain. But I have lost so much. Is it possible to forgive myself? I do not know how. Together, I promised, letting the warmth swell in my chest. We embrace the pain in the pursuit of healing. We carry it with us. You don't have to do it alone. We can unearth this together. The flicker of brilliance peaked as light began to pour from the darkened figure. I stepped closer, assuring my presence beside the boy who looked up with unwavering trust. Please, give yourself a chance. You have people who care for you. A light ignited where confusion lingered, and the form began to shift before us, reminiscent of the man I once admired. The silhouettes of forgotten family members flickered around us, echoes of love and laughter intertwined with memories of sorrow and pain revealing in joyful bursts. Suddenly, the shadows erupted in protest and twisted violently, their cries haunting as they began to claw back toward the figure, desperate to reclaim their hold. But it was too late. You are not defined by them, I urged, stepping closer. Your identity is not theirs to own. In that moment, the boy surged forward, heartbreak pervasive yet transformed by love. You are not your pain. You are so much more. The darkness writhed, caught in the precipice of decision, as the luminous feathers from the creature unfolded wide, shimmering with ethereal beauty. An unforeseen warmth radiated from the figure, swirling through the chaos. And then, like a bolt of lightning, the realization struck me: we didn't just need to confront the darkness. We had to embrace the realization of every shadow, the good and the bad. The past has shaped us, but the light of love can mend even the deepest fractured hearts, I said fiercely, calling on every memory that fueled my determination. It's time to rise. It's time to forgive. As I spoke these words, the fiery darkness began to recede, unraveling itself from the figure before us as the truth flooded the air. The boy squeezed my hand, radiating innocence and unwavering belief. Then, with one final surge of determination, the figure broke free of its shackles. The darkness swirled furiously, an anguished scream erupting from the shadows as they unbound themselves. Together, we will learn to forgive. Together, we will reclaim what we thought lost. The words burst forth from my lips, and in that moment, a blinding light surrounded us, illuminating the shadows as they dispersed, leaving only brilliance in their wake. The creature before us shone with a heartwarming hue, each feather shimmering with life, a zesty spirit newly born. Thank you, it whispered, its voice tinged with relief and gratitude, no longer wrapped in despair. I felt the boy's grip loosen as he blinked up at the now reformed figure, realizing the enormous transformation taking place. You're back, yes, came the response, a soft yet powerful timbre that enveloped the courtyard, echoing with the promise of rebirth. I am finally back. Emotions surged within me, relief and joy rushing in as I realized the phoenix wasn't just a creature of fire but of resilience, rebirth, and rediscovery. Just then, I heard a voice behind me, a shadow of doubt lingering from our shared past. But what of the others? The connections still frayed. I turned sharply, remembering those still tethered by pain: my mother, the boy's father. We reach out, I said, my heart swelling. We summon the courage to heal, together. As I spoke, a warmth enveloped us, a binding kinship that twined through the air like golden thread. One by one, the flickering shadows and spirits of those we had lost joined above us, luminous and empowered. Their presence ignited hope, weaving its way through the tangled fabric and lifting the weight from our hearts. In that moment, I understood healing didn't mean forgetting. Healing was embracing both the light and the dark. And just like that, as the echoes of our past rippled out, I felt a deep sense of closure wash over me. It was a beginning born of pain, yes, but also a renewal poised to soar into uncharted skies. As the final remnants of darkness dissolved into the night, I breathed deeply, feeling the unwavering strength of the boy at my side. From the ashes, we rise, I declared with a fierce tenacity. He nodded in agreement, eyes alight with excitement, a testament to the endless possibilities that lay before us. Together, we had uncovered the essence of forgiveness, love, and the power of connection. As the full moon cast its serene light upon the courtyard, I took a step forward, hand in hand with the boy and the phoenix beside us, ready to face whatever awaited. In that luminous embrace, I knew deep in my heart we were no longer lost, we had finally found our way home. And as I looked skyward, I whispered a promise to the universe: we will shine brighter than ever before. The night pulsed with life, echoing the fervent declaration of new beginnings. In the tender embrace of the moment, I found everything that had been lost and more: my heart, my voice, my light. The final strands of our tapestry wove together, each thread representing the journeys of forgiveness and acceptance, each stitch sewn with love that bound us forever. And in that moment, beneath the luminous glow of the moon, nestled in the cocoon of possibility and dreams fulfilled, I realized that while the past had shaped me, it was hope that would carry us forward.